Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Learn to Cook with Linda. I'm Tim, and this is Linda. And Linda, could you tell us what we're going to be making today?
Yes, today we're going to make roasted garlic mashed potatoes.
My favorite.
It's delicious. Ingredient list. We're going to start with 5 pounds of potatoes. A lot of people like to mix russet potatoes with Yukon Gold, and I'll show you those in a minute. 3 heads of roasted garlic, 2 sticks of butter, a package of cream cheese, which we softened and cut into cubes, some half and half, and salt and pepper.
Awesome.
So I show you the ingredients here. We have our half and half. You can also use milk, but I think the half and half gives it a creamier texture. Here are 2 sticks of butter and our cream cheese, salt and pepper, and our potatoes.
Awesome. What's the first step?
The first step is to roast the garlic because that takes the longest. It takes about an hour to roast garlic. And so I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
It's very simple. What you want to do is take off some of the top third, and you can save these little pieces for other recipes.
Okay.
But now you've got this head of garlic, see where you can see most of the cloves. You don't have to see all of them, but most.
Okay.
So let's cut these other 2.
Got it. Okay.
That's fine. I'm going to take out some tin foil so we can put them in here.
All right.
Looks great. 1, 2, 3. These are really big cloves of garlic, and so that's why we're doing 3. Sometimes if they're really small, I'll use more. So now we're going to take our olive oil,
All right.
which is right here. Now we're going to take our olive oil and just gently drizzle it over the top.
Got it.
Try and get all the cloves. Our oven is preheated to 425. Usually 400 and over is how you roast things.
Cool.
So let's fold this together. I like to do it this way so that the steam can escape. It helps the garlic cook. And just fold up this side, that side. Okay,
All right.
put those into the oven. Okay, Tim, so while we're waiting for the garlic to roast, we're going to make our mashed potatoes.
Awesome.
The first thing I'd like to show you is the 2 different types of potatoes we're going to use today. So this is a russet potato. It's kind of an oblong. It's really often used for baked potatoes. And this is a Yukon Gold potato, known for holding its shape, and it's a little bit more waxy. So the russet's more starchy, and the Yukon Gold's more waxy. So let's peel our potatoes.
All right.
Want me to show you a more efficient way to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you can do this way. You take the top off the side and the other side too, and then you take your peeler and you just do big strokes, and that's a much more efficient way to peel your potato.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow, that saved me so much time.
When you do peel a potato, you want your thumb on the bottom, so you can just do big broad strokes like that.
Okay.
You want to try it with your thumb?
Yeah.
There? Okay. So you have so much more control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow, that's a lot easier.
It is a lot easier. It's a good trick. Okay, so now we have the potatoes that we prepared. Again, it's a combination of russet potatoes and Yukon Gold potatoes, but you can use any type of potato. And I'd like to cut these in half again. And we're going to put them into this pot of cold water mixed with some chicken stock. The chicken stock just gives it extra flavor. We're going to make these uniform. So they all cook together. Starting them in cold water prevents you from burning your hands as you drop them into a pot of boiling water. While you're doing that, I'm going to turn on the stove.
All right.
I'm going to add some salt to the water. The smaller the pieces are. We're trying to get them to be pretty uniform so they cook together. And today we're going to use the old-fashioned potato masher. You can use a hand mixer if you want to. The potato masher is a great tool and easy.
Some of these are getting stuck to the knife.
That's because of the starch. So if it's bothering you, you can just rinse it. The knife. Give it a quick rinse. So this dish, I remember going to visit one of my son's friends, and I made Thanksgiving dinner for them. And I taught him how to make roasted garlic mashed potatoes. And now everywhere he goes for dinner, this is what they ask for. Another thing about mashed potatoes is you can freeze them. So if you make a lot in a batch, they're really easy to defrost, and all you do is add a little bit of cream or milk or butter to them when you reheat them. Also, mashed potatoes are very dense, and so when you reheat them, you have to stir them.
All right.
Okay, those are going to cook for about 20 minutes. We're going to bring them to a boil and then cook them for about 20 minutes, right until they're fork tender, which means you can stick a fork through them pretty easily.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
All right, so I have a little tip about boiling potatoes. Sometimes the pot can boil over, and to prevent it, you just put a wooden spoon across there like that.
Why does that stop it from boiling over?
I have no idea, but I've been doing it for years and years, and it works every time.
Huh? Awesome.
Okay, we've been boiling the potatoes for about a half an hour. We're going to check them to see if they're fork tender. And that just means you can put a fork and it slides nicely through, but it doesn't drop the potato. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So now we want to get our mitts and drain the potatoes. I'm going to turn the stove down a little bit. because we're going to drain them and return them to the pot.
Gotcha. You said they're going to go back in?
Yes. The stove is still on. We can turn it off once you have those potatoes back in there.
Okay.
And using this potato masher, we're going to break them up a little bit to let some of that steam escape.
All right.
Okay. Okay. You don't have to completely mash them. We're just trying to let some of the steam escape so you can just mix them around. And the purpose of having the steam escape is that the consistency of mashed potatoes can get a little gluey if there's too much moisture trapped in the potato.
Is that from the starch?
It's from the moisture in the potato. So I'm just gonna, let's put that pot down into the sink
All right.
and we can start adding stuff to it.
Cool.
Right. It's just easier to mash it there than on the stovetop. Okay. Okay, now Tim, we're gonna start adding the softened butter,
All right.
a few tablespoons at a time. I'm going to add a little bit of the cream cheese too. Is that butter melting nicely? Yep, looks like it is. Great. So this is something you do to the texture that you like it. So I do it by eye. Okay, add some more cream cheese. The cream cheese gives it a really rich, cheesy texture. I'm going to add a little cream in here, just a little bit. You don't want too much. Okay, now let's add some salt and pepper. You're a very good potato masher.
Thank you.
Sometimes with mashed potatoes, I like to add white pepper. It just gives it a little bit of a different flavor. It doesn't show up in the potatoes.
How's that?
That looks great. Okay, let's mix those up and we'll test them.
All right.
Now, here's the best part. I'm just going to sneak in here and check the texture. Needs more butter. And a little bit more cream. Now, when you go to reheat potatoes, you can add a little bit of milk or cream or butter. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
Here's where the big flavor comes from.
Awesome.
Okay, so you see some of these were already sticking out, so you can pretty much squeeze these garlic cloves out. See, oh goodness,
Mhm.
a little gooey, a little bit of a gooey job, but it's worth every bit. I'll do this one.
All right.
We're trying to make sure we don't get any of the skin in there. Okay, go for it.
All right.
This is good. If you just squeeze the head of garlic, the whole thing, just squeeze it, and they should start popping out. See that?
Yeah, look at that.
Let's
Well,
start
that
with,
made it easy.
yeah. And roasted garlic is so good mushed on bread, mushed on garlic bread. Let's start with this and see how we do.
All right.
Because these were really big heads of garlic, and I want to. So you could have used a hand mixer to whip these up, but the old-fashioned potato masher is doing just a good job. Okay, let's taste them and see if they need that last head of garlic.
All right.
Do you think they need salt, pepper, more garlic?
I think a little bit more pepper and then the last bit of that garlic.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to pop one more piece of cream cheese in there. Gooey.
Mm-hmm.
You need to rinse your hands.
That's all right. Take that spoon out.
Okay. I'll rinse this.
A little bit more pepper. All right.
Okay. Did you notice that you didn't have to put a ton of salt in there?
Yeah.
Part of the reason is because we cooked them in half water and half chicken stock. So a lot of the flavor got into the potatoes from the chicken stock. Okay. Here.
All right. See how that is now.
Good. Perfect.
That's perfect.
Great. So you can see that we kind of
It's really good.
adjusted the recipe a little bit. We didn't use all the cream or all of the cream cheese. It depends on how big the potatoes are, how many pounds of them you have. And the best thing to do is build your flavor slowly because you can't go back.
Yeah, you
Once you
can't
put
unknown.
too much of something, yes.
Wow, Linda, I think those might have been the best mashed potatoes I've ever had.
Oh, that's great. Let's review how we did it. So we peeled the potatoes. Remember the peeling of the potato trick that I showed you? We brought some cold water and mixed it with some chicken stock and salt for good flavor in the potatoes. Boiled them for about a half an hour till they were fork tender. Some people heat the cream in butter. We just brought it to room temperature and it was just fine. Then we add the roasted garlic and the butter and cream cheese and half to the right consistency that we want, and salt and pepper. Most of the flavor comes from the roasted garlic.
Yeah, it definitely did. Well, thanks for showing me how to make those mashed potatoes again, Linda. That's it for another episode of Learn to Cook with Linda. I'm Tim, and this is Linda, and as always, we hope to see you next time.